Good morning. I'm here this morning with Mark Cameron, the CEO of Bolt New Zealand, for our regular catch-up. And we
At least you're getting my name right this
yeah, I
time.
am. I am.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I am.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well done.
It was his birthday
2
the other
years.
week, the other one. All right.
Ah.
But afterwards, having a wee bit of a challenge getting out of Nelson, so we
Yes.
weren't able to do it yesterday because we were in Christchurch, in fact, when the low crowds came down on Sunday afternoon after the Stoke Piers, and all those flying out got completely stranded in Nelson. And the last report I had, some weren't in fact getting out of Nelson until today. We were fortunate. We got to Christchurch. We got Nelson, Christchurch.
There's worse place in the world to be than staying in Nelson for an extra night.
Well,
isn't
but
there?
I do question it though, Mark, because last year when Tamara and I went down to the same event, we couldn't get in because of low cloud, and this time we couldn't get out because of low cloud. So perhaps it's telling us something. So I don't know.
Next year it's going to be perfect. That's what it's telling.
That's what it's telling
Or
us.
it's going to be low cloud at either end.
So we've got a number of questions here, a number of points we want to bring up, and they're all good. So the first one is, what is a young member, and who are we trying to attract to our sport?
Geez, you know, normally I read these questions before I come to these sessions. Who is a young member? Or young for us can be anyone, can't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Young is new to the sport. Look, we are committing though in the next 4-year cycle to a rangatahi, a secondary school strategy. We are looking to develop a group of kids to come through our program to come through and learn and enjoy bowls. I don't know whether what your view of secondary schools is, but there's a lot of good sport in secondary schools for active kids, but there's very few sports that actually target those kids that are inactive.
Absolutely.
That are obese, that are socially awkward, that are physically or mentally challenged in some respects.
Well,
and bowls is perfect for that, for those rangatahi.
well, if we look at a number of our younger players, so to speak, now and I'll go to the Blackjacks, they're all close to the Blackjacks.
Yes.
Right? So Shannon McElroy came through the secondary school program.
Yep.
Chris Lee via Howard College, he came through the secondary school program. Amy McElroy is another one. Taylor Bruce. Caitlin Inch, in fact, from St Margaret's.
Selena Goddard.
Selena Goddard.
Seamus Curtin.
They all came through that secondary school program. And I think now, schools are more... It's interesting, I was talking to someone just recently about Maclean's College as an example of, the number of sports that are now played down at Maclean's College. And the good thing is that I think now we're getting sport which is being played, not babysat. We had in Auckland, as a case in point, and other centres, we had a dedicated to secondary schools. But it more than likely got too big and too not really focused. And it needs to have a program in conjunction with the Secondary Schools Association and the colleges.
Oh, colleges. I think there's a real opportunity. There you go. There's your water. I think there's a real opportunity for us to get in at that at the lower end of sport in schools, secondary schools. Those kids that aren't going to, miraculously turn up and start playing rugby, netball, tennis, golf, football, whatever it is. Turn up, play bowls. Bowls is really a walking and talking sport.
Well, if you think about it...
and it'll work really well for those kids.
The boys who won the National Secondary School Peers last year from Matamata,
yes,
they got Matamata College Sports Award.
Yes.
And I read just last week in Wellington, the girl Pottinger received her college award for bowls as a sports achievement. So it needs to have a program, but just using the word young, I think we need to be careful and say it's young in age, because we still more than welcome and want to welcome that 30, 35, 40, 45, whatever age.
Junior bowlers for our sport in reality are 45, 55, 60 years of age.
Correct.
That's junior bowlers. That doesn't mean to say that we don't work on the youth and a youth strategy, but our bread and butter is absolutely in that 50s, sort of 40s, 50s, 60s space, 70s, 80s.
Well, I think the other thing in the favour of the sport now, Mark, you've traversed the country, you know what the clubs and that are like now. Most of our clubs, one, are welcoming to new innovations and they would support secondary schools.
Yep.
Secondly, the clubs overall are more welcoming, like in the rural areas, like Hinuera as a case in point in the Waikato.
Yep.
They're all encompassing and all welcoming. So the days of barriers, so to speak, are long gone.
There's no cost, there's no cost
Absolutely.
to this as well. It's an easy sport and a relatively cheap sport to play. So a really good, I think we've got a really good youth or young person's message coming through, or starting to come through. But at the same time, we understand that, our bread and butter is 40, 50, 60-year-olds, 70, 80-year-olds playing our game.
Well, that 40 to 55 age group as well, Mark, does form as well your administration of the future as well, which is so important in the club environment, isn't it? So it is much needed, and so
cool.
It's great that program is going to be sort of taken on board as a collective program.
Yeah, I think we're in a space now where we've Bowls 3-5. We've got a product that actually can work with youth and with time-conscious people.
Would I be fair to say though, Mark, in that as well, if we take in, like we've taken, not taken in, but disabled bowls as part of what our whole, para is part of our whole scenario, the blind bowls are part of our scenario. We now take on youth or secondary schools, as we call it. Does that put us in a different opportunity for funding from various sources? Does it, if you're all encompassing of all ages, all kinds, all whatever?
Oh, I think so. Now, I mean, we New Zealand, we pride ourselves now we've established a real strong well-being message and inclusiveness for everybody in our community. And a sport like bowls and our bowling clubs, we're a sport that actually embraces diversity. It doesn't matter how old you are or young you are, doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, doesn't matter whether you're able or disabled, doesn't matter whether you're male or female. Play the game.
It's a sport for all, as we say.
Exactly.
So, big fortnight coming up as we jump on the Silver Bird this Sunday.
Yes.
Off to the Gold Coast for the Blackjacks and the Multi-Nations and the Trans-Tasman, and of course in the Trans-Tasman development sides as well, men and women, and the reintroduction of the over 60 side.
Yes.
And talking to a couple of those over 60 players who have been selected, they're excited about heading off in this event, which is great to hear. But for our Blackjacks, minus Shannon McElroy and Mike Kernahan from the Asia Pacific, 2 changes in the women's side with the introduction of Taylor Bruce and Selena Goddard, all part of the program for the selectors and high performance people to look at the squad overall as we build towards the World Games, the World Champs.
Yeah, really important couple of weeks for our high performance program. Multi-nations first up, so 8 nations in the men's and women's side of the event. Followed by Trans-Tasman against Australia. An opportunity for a number of players, obviously, to really push their claims for the World Champs next year. So that's important for us. At the same time, we get to have a look at some of the developing players within our sport. They'll also play in a Trans-Tasman competition, as well as some of the over 60s. I don't know why I'm smiling when I look at you with the word over 60s. Some of the over 60s, and a really a nice statement there in terms of, hey, you don't stop being competitive in the sport of bowls ever.
No.
Yeah.
And
no matter the age.
And Brendan Van Nistelrooy and myself are going to be pretty busy because there's quite a bit of coverage coming of the event.
Yes.
On the live streaming networks.
Yes. So at the moment we're working on not only stuff.co.nz. We're getting pretty close to a discussion with Sky, whereby Sky Sport or Sky will pick up coverage as well of those events, and we're also working with the TAB. So we've come a long way.
We
a
certainly
very long
have.
way from our days of Facebook only, Kevin.
So, for those people out there, we are taking the last 2 days of the Multi-Nations, which is the finals series.
Yep.
So we'll be taking the last 2 days of that. Now, of course, we don't know who or what disciplines at this stage because we don't know who's going to make the finals, but there will be coverage of those. And then the Trans-Tasman, we're taking all 3 days of the Trans-Tasman, and each round, like it's 3 rounds per day.
Yep.
We'll be taking a different discipline in each round over the 3 days of the main side, the Blackjacks as we call it. So there'll be 9 games over the 3 days coverage, wall-to-wall coverage throughout.
And I think that's the change now is that we're really targeting 1 game only per round.
Yes.
As opposed to trying to, almost have this blanket coverage of an event. When we, now that we're with Sky and with stuff, etc., it's really important that we almost take a game from start to conclusion. So it's a little change, but boy, where we've come in a year in terms of our ability to be on these platforms and showcase our sport is just, it's big leaps.
Well, it certainly is, and as we know, mate, we're going to see far more digital platforms come into being.
Yep.
In the coming years. And of course, we're looking forward. We don't know what format it's going to be yet, but of course, we're also looking forward to the World Championships in early 2020, where we certainly want to be in the screens or in the device communication. New Zealand covering our blackjacks at the World Champs. So.
Yep. But between now and then, we've got Nationals, which will be streaming. Somerset Nationals in January, we've got Intercentre, we've got Interclub, we've got another Trans-Tasman, we've got a North versus South, we've got a secondary schools event. There's a lot of bowls coming up. Kevin, you're going to be quite busy.
There is, and it's great. It's very, very enjoyable. And I think the other thing, Mark, is now, if I like doing Stoke, for example, in the weekend, the number of events which are now taking on these digital platforms as their communication.
Yep.
The Bowls 3-5, you're seeing it all through Facebook and all sorts of things. So,
yep.
We, to the bowling fraternity out there, the days of anyone saying we don't see enough of it, or there's going to be plenty of it, and with the multi-nations and the Trans-Tasman Bowls New Zealand prior to the events getting underway, will no doubt be communicating on the Bowls New Zealand website and Facebook page. Yep. What the digital platforms are, where they can go to them, when they can go to them, and what we're doing.
Exactly right. Exactly, Kevin.
So a lot of facilities development going on around the countryside. I was talking to Chris Landers in the weekend, of course, and there's a lot going on, isn't there?
There is, and I think we sometimes miss that as a sport. We're in danger of talking about streaming and television and all that, bright and bubbly stuff. Yet there's some really good stuff happening within our clubs in terms of facility development. We saw last month Remuera, their roof, and Orewa's roof go on their facilities. I've been down in Christchurch, Chris Lanner and myself, last week, and we learnt about two clubs, Elmwood Park and Canterbury Bowls Club, who both have multi-million-dollar plans to build a covered facility and new greens.
So with Canterbury Bowling Club as an example, is that now going to be a merging of other clubs come into that environment? Is that sort of going to be other bowling clubs move into the Canterbury Club?
Yeah, look, they're all different. They're all a different solution or different scenario. Canterbury Bowling Club is working with a rugby club at the moment, and a number of other sports to build almost a multi-sports type facility, but bowls to obviously have a big and special place there. Whereas Elmwood Park is, shall we say, more so about bowls.
It's interesting, Canterbury Bowling Club. Canterbury Bowling Club and the West End Bowling Club in Auckland.
Yes.
We've got an interesting starting point in that they were initially started by the publicans of the town for them to go somewhere on a Wednesday afternoon or a desert afternoon to have a game of bowls. And that's how the West End Bowling Club in Ponsonby got underway.
So to get them out of the bar and get them walking.
And the same was in Canterbury, because the Canterbury Bowling Club, of course, is very, very close to the inner city confines of Canterbury. It's a little one green club.
I think that's the Christchurch Bowling Club, isn't it?
The Christchurch one,
Christchurch
right?
Bowling, yeah.
Down a little alleyway.
Yeah.
And that was started by the publicans for them to go and have a roll up, and definitely the West End one that's how it first started.
So it was play bowls so you can live longer, so you can drink more beers for a longer period at the pub.
Well, because that's how the LVA tournaments all sort of started as well. It was all came about because of publicans wanted to have a bit of a get together, have a bit of a leisure tournament, and away they went. So
we're really pleased with where we've gone with facilities. Where our clubs and community are going. There's so many exciting and interesting, changes or developments within probably in that sort of 30 to 40 clubs range around the country. I think it's really exciting.
Absolutely.
Not many sports are spending the level of capital, the level of dollar that bowls is spending at the moment.
No, no, there wouldn't be. In fact, they're divesting in their expenditure. So many of them. So
Yeah.
you know, it's a plus, isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
really.
here we are. You know, you can go just about every centre now, and you'll find someone's either doing a new artificial green, or redoing their club rooms, or talking about a merger of two clubs.
And it's also good as well for clubs that sit within council facilities as well, because it's far better utilisation of the whole area, and it's bringing in a lot more. It's just doing all the right things, isn't
Yep,
it?
it is, and I think it's us also adapting to the fact that we're more than just bowling clubs nowadays. That we are these community facilities that include the darts and the petanque and the mahjong and the bingos and other community activities within the facility.
So again, it's another positive that's really
I think it's
going on with the sport.
and we don't talk about it enough, and that's probably why it's been raised today. Is that it's a real positive for us.
Well, it is. I know myself travelling around the country and talking to players and members from so many clubs. It's a positive environment. It's an enjoyable environment. Sure, there's always we all know the inner club political things that are going on, etc. But if you take the sport as a
you break a few eggs to make an omelette, isn't
absolutely,
it? The saying my grandmother used to say.
Absolutely, you do.
Yep.
And there's some good administration out there in the clubs. There's some good forward thinking, and can only be healthy for the sport going forward.
Yeah, agreed.
So Taranaki Open Fours again in January.
Taranaki Open Fours. Now there's a challenge being laid down here because there's a new team entered the competition this year from Riverhead Bowling Club.
I've heard a rumour.
Yep, skipping will be a certain second year working out of Bowls New Zealand with 3 first years. So I know I'm looking forward to it, and so a few of my mates looking forward to going down playing in the Taranaki Open. Bit of a plug for them here in terms of get your entries into that event, because I'm reliably informed it is the best event in the country. I'm told that by people in Taranaki, but
in fact, I first played the Taranaki Open Fours, I think, in 1976, and I had the pleasure of playing with the late All Black halfback Kevin Charles Briscoe, and Bob Fowles and a chap called Bush Maybe, and played in it for a number of years. And I also had the pleasure of playing the Taranaki Open with another ex-All Black in Ross Brown, and I also had the unique pleasure of playing in the side that was the only time ever that the Taranaki Open has been tied. And myself, Peter Thorne, Barry Greer and Rowan Brassey played Barry Drabble Manuera side, and after 25 ends at Paratutu, the score was all locked up at 25 all. The green was underwater, completely underwater, couldn't play anymore. And if you look back through the record book of the Taranaki Open Fours, you'll see it's the only time the event has ever been tied. But if you want to have a week of great hospitality, getting around some of the smaller clubs within the Taranaki area, like the Leopardons and the Awokras and all those sorts of things, and the whole community takes in on the Taranaki Open Fours, it's an event which they can be very, very. I think this is the 109th or 10th year. Grant Hassel, he'll correct me, I know that, but it's up there, and some of the greats of New Zealand bowls have lined up in the Taranaki Open Fours,
and they're not so great. So I'll be there. I'll be taking a week's leave with 3 of my mates, and we'll be playing in the Taranaki Open. 1 second year to 3 first years.
Oh, you'll enjoy it, I can assure you.
What are our
that.
chances?
And well, look, the great thing about the Taranaki Open Fours is you play 8 games of qualifying, right?
Excellent, thank you.
And so you win 6 out of 8. So you've got a couple of lifelines on the way
Yes.
through, right? However, if you do not qualify, you can then play in the pairs. So for the non-qualifiers and others who wish to participate.
So you're saying we should book the pairs in
well,
now?
no, you don't have to yet, because you can do it right up until the last day of section play of the fours. So you then play Friday. You can play Friday and Saturday morning. They play then another round robin section play of the pairs, and through post-section play and through the finals, which coincides and is played.
I suspect after 4 days of 8 games of 25 ends, us new bowlers are going to be quite tired, quite exhausted. I'm not sure we'll be up for the pairs.
But it's a wonderful event, and it's stuck by. It's never changed its format. It's always had the 8 games, always had 25 ends, never changed how it's been played. And look,
I'm looking forward to it, Kevin.
I'll say to people out there around the countryside who are watching this, if you want to have a good week in Taranaki, and it's a good place to go to, there's plenty to see, plenty to do, if you want to get a group of guys together and go away to New Plymouth for a week, and also for the women, don't forget that
It's the following week, isn't
the
it?
following week
Yep,
is
exactly
the
right.
Taranaki Open
Yep.
Women's Tournament. So, and that again is always been, it's a great tournament. So if you want to have a bit of a holiday in Taranaki, they would welcome you with open arms.
And
I
they've
can assure you.
guaranteed the weather too, haven't they?
Well, I'd never talk about the weather in Taranaki.
Okay. Next topic then.
So the Bowls 3-5, that's well underway now. Our televised event, that's underway, and the different two additional teams this year with Hinuera and the Paras. They were in there,
And Elmwood Park as
and
well.
Elmwood Park, of
third
course.
one.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
No, it's going well. I don't think. I mean, we're middle of the competition now. Feedback has been generally very good. It's a step up on last year. I think everyone agrees and shares that sentiment. There's still some things we need to work on. I can see on your next list question there was a 30-second shot clock. We probably got that one wrong, but we're not going to change the rules halfway through a competition here.
can't change it now.
Can't
No.
change it now. What we'll do is we'll work with the skips
Absolutely.
predominantly to speed them up,
Yep.
give them a bit of a hurry up, etc. And at the end of the season, we'll sit down and review that aspect. It's funny though, because a year ago we were getting a number of complaints about bringing in a 30-second shot clock. Now it's without it. We're sort of in that space as well.
I think also it needs the clarification, because the number of people have raised it with me that the shot clock was got rid of because of the Paras. Now that's not correct, because the Paras are just, they're in this tournament on exactly the same basis as everybody else, aren't they?
Yeah, it is. Oh, look, there are many reasons why we removed the shot clock. One of the other ones was that when we initially did the straw, we were only playing 2 games a night. So we
Correct.
felt we had a bit of extra time,
Yes.
and then Sky at the last minute, thankfully, thumbs up to Sky. They gave us the 3rd game a night. So suddenly we had to crunch up our times.
Yeah, I just.
But the Parajacks one, it is still it was part of the reasoning though, because the Parajacks, if we were to get a player who was really struggling with the movement, we're putting a 30-second shot on them is difficult.
I agree. Look, we've got what we got this year, and it's on the table. I just, and it's great.
Enjoy it for what it is
Yep.
this year.
Yep.
We'll fix up some of the bits and pieces for next year. But a lot of good improvements that Aaron and the team have made. The open micing of the players, the commentators, those digital walls.
Yes.
It's totally, much different. The quality of the play, the teams. that
Quality
actually-
of the play
Yep.
is certainly gone up a bar.
Yeah. Those little digital circles.
Yeah, it's very handy.
Yep,
Very
very
handy
cool.
that, and I've had a lot of people talk to me. We did have one very slow episode last week, which I know would have been addressed, and
Yep.
and providing, which is, you just said it's happening at Bowls New Zealand. They just have a word to the skip, so
Yep.
you look at the feedback afterwards, and it's just really about that. And look, at the end of the day, I look at it this way. There's not really a lot to deliberate, because there's not many bowls up there anyway. It's a pretty, it's
No,
not.
but enjoy it for what it is.
Absolutely.
We have, as a sport now, we have 8 weeks, 3 nights a week, 3.5 hours a night of bowls, live on TV.
Yeah.
Have we ever had that?
No, but now we go to the next question relative to that, and it's the Nationals on Sky. So
Yeah,
the
and
further development with Sky, isn't it?
Yep, exactly. And we love Sky. Home of sport and all that sort of stuff. Absolutely. The more content we can get out there, now that we've got all the streaming technology, we can deliver, nationals and intercenters and interclubs and all that sort of stuff, not only on our own channels, on our own website and Facebook, but on Sky, on stuff,
Well,
platforms.
it's fair to say, Mark, like working with Brendan at the Asia Pacific Championships, and certainly not having a crack at our Australians at all, but
Oh, feel free.
the sophistication that Ben and his group have brought together with the equipment and the production facility and the whole scenario, it's virtually like a mini Sky production
It is.
operation,
Yeah,
isn't it, really?
Absolutely. I mean, you can recall Dunedin 2 years ago.
Yeah.
One camera on a tripod, with you cabled into the back of it. I think you one stage you had to follow behind the camera as well, didn't you?
Correct.
From end to end.
Yeah,
you know?
done that, been there.
Now
done
you
that.
just get to sit down in your comfy chair and talk.
Well, and the other good thing which has happened is that because the new equipment now, that the time lapse to our monitors between what's happening and on the monitors, it's virtually as it happens.
Yep.
Because before we used to have quite a significant delay, and it was always difficult commentating. You sort of going in between. But now, as you'll see, people will see, but whilst we're doing the multi-nations and the Trans-Tasman, when you say it's live action, it is.
Live
there
action.
it is.
Yeah.
It's live action. So,
Yep.
you know, big plug to Sky really, because they're really open, you know, and they go opening up further.
And
aren't
stuff.
they?
.co.nz and the TAB. We're blessed in this country with some really positive and innovative digital partners. At the same time, you know, we've got people like yourself, Brenton, Ben, who are driving this and helping drive this for our sport as well. So thanks to everybody, basically.
So with the TAB thing, just to clarify that, so it's on the TAB website. Is that the betting website, or is it?
Are we allowed to talk about this on air?
I don't know. I just, you know, what is the TAB?
I'm sure we are. It's so TAB have within their betting app or
Yes.
website or portal, they have a watch and bet function. So
correct.
at the moment there are certain sports that you can actually watch on the TAB on their website and bet on it. Have a flutter at the same time. And you know that has a chunk of our community, New Zealand community, that actually follow that. So it's another avenue for us.
Now, is there as well, like with other sports, is there a revenue opportunity? Is there a revenue opportunity as well with the TAB? Is there that I know some sports.
Yeah, and there is for us as well.
Right, okay.
Absolutely. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be endorsing it at all. We're just a little bit careful in this space. You know, a lot of people like to talk about
Yes.
gambling and corruption and you know that sort of stuff when it comes to sport. So we're a little bit cautious, you know, as we walk down this betting and lawn bowls path. You know, the comfort for us is we're not cricket or some of those bigger football, you know, tennis sports, international sports, which have, you know, not $50 being put down on a wager, but you know, $500,000.
Well, you would know from your past experience in cricket that what we've. You know,
yeah, we're not in that space,
No.
but we still have to be cautious about the message and how we link betting in with our game.
No, so it was just somebody asked me about it on the weekend. So what it really means is you can actually watch it on the TAB website and you don't have to be punting, really, do you?
Yeah, you can. Yep.
You can go and open up the app, whatever it is.
So I love my NBA basketball. I can actually watch the NBA on the TAB.
Right.
Live,
Okay.
any game.
So for those people who asked me about it on the weekend, that's how it will work. You just go to the TAB website, no doubt, and as Mark said, this is a watch and play opportunity there.
For those that are TAB. Otherwise, it'll also be available on Stuff and more than likely Sky as well.
So there you go. So
Plenty of
IBD World Championships.
Yeah, we're pleased with this one. So we've I don't know whether we've announced this in the past formally, but we are hosting the World Champs in November 2020 for the IBD, so the International Bowls for the Disabled.
Yes.
So it's visually impaired as well as physically disabled. We're hosting the World Champs in November 2020 in Christchurch. It's big, you know. It's a number of athletes. You know, World Championship medals up for grabs. Really pleased to be awarded the event by the IBD, and you know we'll. I guess it's a affirmation of what we're already doing around, you know, Parajacks and Bowls through 5, and we've got disabled events now in our Somerset Nationals. You know, we're really upping the ante here and showing bowls as a sport that's for everybody.
So does this mean then? Are we saying then? So we're having the World Championships in Gold Coast in April, May, whenever it is,
Yep.
like next year.
May, June. Yep.
And this is their event, the equivalent of
This is their equivalent
in November 2020 in Christchurch.
in Christchurch, which is a big deal.
Absolutely.
And it's a really good message for our sport, along with the Parajacks and Bowls through 5, to be saying, doesn't matter, you know, whether you're physically able or not, you can play the game of bowls.
Well, for those
and there's a pathway. There's a pathway to go and play in a World Champs.
If you look last year, for example, at the Commonwealth Games, when we had that final of Australia and New Zealand and that triples gold medal match where we just narrowly missed out.
Yep.
The quality of the play is don't be put off in saying they're not that good because they are. Believe me.
In 2022, they'll be going to the Commonwealth Games. It's a mixed triple and a mixed pair for the visually impaired, and they'll be competing for medals on the medal standings and the medal.
Well, this is a great plus for Boys New Zealand, isn't it? That we're very actively in part of this. It's an international sports event, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's an endorsement of where we're at with our sport as well, and that we're comfortable and we absolutely want to send that inclusiveness message.
And Christchurch City Council, they no doubt will get behind such an event like that.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm hoping they're making the decision in the month of December. So,
okay.
So yeah, so
well, they have
go Christchurch City Council.
They have in the past, and when the World Bowls have been there, they have been, they've been very, very supportive. So,
I hope so.
Talking about Christchurch, of course, we're not far away now from the entries closing for the Somerset National Pairs and Singles, correct?
Correct.
So we urge people, please, to get your entries in.
Yeah.
Papanui's the headquarters, correct?
Club Papanui's the headquarters, yeah. Obviously a number of... So it'll be good. Somerset Nationals down there in Christchurch. It'll be a good event, good numbers. We're really looking forward to this. We'll be doing a streaming thing as well with it. And a good opportunity, I guess, for those in the South Island who are really struggling. Last year they couldn't get up to the North Island to one of the two events. This is the opportunity for those in the South Island to come along and experience the Nationals. And a Nationals where, what was the line with John Macbeth and Nisbet, where they got to play the world champion.
They played Shannon McElroy.
Yeah, in sectional play.
Yes.
This is your opportunity to play, and our best blackjacks will be on display at the Nationals in January.
Yes, I can tell you, I've had communications, like Jo Edwards is coming back to play, for example.
Yep.
She's playing with Kirsten Edwards. Val Smith's coming back, and she's playing with her partner of last year where they won. Caitlin Inch is back as well. Ellie Forsyth is coming back as well.
They want to make the world champs.
So it's a very important event for those players. So not only... the other good thing about Christchurch is I urge people to go to take on board. If you want to go and play on good greens, really good greens, and a good event, there's no better place to go to than a Nationals in Christchurch. And the weather's normally, weather's normally pretty good in Christchurch, but you've got very, very good greens. You've got 2 days of qualifying of the pairs, isn't it? And 1 day qualifying of the singles, both men and women.
Yep.
So grab yourself a partner, one from your club. Well, no, don't have to be from your club, do they? You can be a composite pairs, play with anyone.
Or you play singles too, as well. The disabled is obviously in there as well, so disabled and visually impaired. There are sections in this year's Nationals too. Hey, I know we're closing up, so and I'm getting that look from Alex from the looks of things. It was that Tamara look I was getting then.
Tamara look?
Yeah, Tamara look. Just Taylor Horn and Debbie White played in the recent Champ of Champions. Congratulations to both on their performance, and especially to Debbie White. Somerset National Singles Champion last year, silver medalist or runner-up in the World Champ of Champions.
One bowl away.
One bowl away as well. That's pretty special.
Yeah, and also while we're doing congratulations, because they're in the blackjack squad, congratulations to Selena Goddard, who won the Stoke Singles on that same day. I happened to be down there. Had a fantastic final against Linda Ralph from Auckland, winning 21-17. And also to Andrew Kelly in his win in the weekend in the Stoke Pairs with Nathan Glasson. They played Dennis Mills and Andre Smith in the final. And just for, I think, moving forward to next couple of weeks, both Andrew Kelly and Selena Goddard were played at the highest quality. So congratulations to them as well.
Just lots of positive stories out there within our bowls community. Check out our website, please. Lots of stories on there. Check out Facebook and keep in touch with us through the streaming, through Sky Sport, because there's a heck of a lot more bowls to come this summer.
There certainly is, Mark. So thank you very much for your time, and of course welcome to Alex Reid, who's on his first roll this morning, isn't it?
Yes.
So
if there's any problems with this,
Not our fault.
email alex@bowlsnewzealand.co.nz.
thanks very much, Mark, and we'll talk before Christmas.
Okay, cheers, Kevin.